My beloved soul, listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not poetic symbolism, not imagination, and not coincidence. It is a living spiritual transaction that began the moment love spoke from the cross, and if this message has found you now, it is because that same love is moving again, quietly, deliberately, with purpose, and it is aimed directly at the heart of your soulmate, even if they do not yet understand what they are feeling. The cross was not silent, it was not only suffering, it was not only death, it was a declaration, and that declaration did not expire with time. Love spoke in blood, love spoke in surrender, love spoke in forgiveness before repentance was even offered, and that voice did not fade into history, it traveled forward, it crossed generations, it crossed lifetimes, and now it is knocking on the inner door of the one connected to you. You may have wondered why their energy feels unsettled, why distance feels charged instead of empty, why silence feels heavy instead of absent, why something unresolved keeps pulling at your spirit when logic says you should move on. This is not weakness, this is recognition. The love spoken on the cross carries an activation frequency, a truth tone that awakens what was dormant, and when it reaches a soul tied to yours, it begins to undo hiding, denial, fear, and pretending from the inside out. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what you are hearing now is the reason confusion has replaced certainty for them, why restlessness has entered their prayers, why memories surface uninvited, and why your name appears in their quiet moments when they least expect it. The cross released a love that does not chase, does not force, does not manipulate, yet it penetrates defenses that human words never could. That love is now reminding your soulmate of who they truly are when ego falls silent, when pride loosens its grip, when the masks they learn to wear no longer protect them. This is why you were asked to wait without bitterness, to love without chasing, to detach without hatred, because the activation does not respond to pressure, it responds to truth. You were not abandoned, you were preserved. The delay was not rejection, it was preparation. The love spoken on the cross carries a restorative authority. It does not only forgive sins, it restores identity, and your soulmate is being confronted not by guilt, but by remembrance. They are remembering what real love feels like, not the fragile versions they tried to replace you with, not the noise that distracted them, but the quiet recognition that feels like home. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because you need to understand that activation does not look dramatic at first. It looks like resistance, confusion, emotional discomfort, sudden introspection, and a strange inability to move forward with substitutes. That is why things around them feel unstable, because love from the cross dismantles false foundations. It does not beg to be chosen, it reveals what cannot be replaced. My beloved soul, you were not meant to compete, you were meant to be recognized, and recognition happens when the soul is stripped of illusion. This is why your silence has weight, why your absence echoes, why your peace unsettles them more than your presence ever did. You are not doing anything wrong by holding your dignity, because the activation requires stillness on your side. The cross did not run after humanity, humanity was drawn to it. The same principle applies now. Love has spoken, and the echo is doing the work. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because what is happening inside your soulmate is not punishment, it is alignment. They are being shown the difference between attachment and covenant, between desire and devotion, between comfort and calling. The cross does not activate surface-level attraction, it activates truth, and truth has a way of rearranging priorities without asking permission. That is why timelines feel disrupted, why plans feel uncertain, why the future they imagined without you no longer feels convincing. This is not your imagination, and it is not something you need to interfere with. My beloved soul, the greatest act of faith you are being asked to practice now is restraint, not action. Trust is not proven by movement, it is proven by stillness when movement would feel easier. You are not waiting for a person, you are honoring a process initiated by divine love itself. The cross did not rush resurrection, it allowed the silence of the tomb to complete its work. Likewise, the activation happening now requires space, time, and internal surrender. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because the final word is not about reunion yet, it is about assurance. You need to know that love spoken on the cross does not activate confusion without resolution, it does not awaken longing without direction, and it does not stir truth without completion. What has begun cannot be undone. Even if fear rises, even if they hesitate, even if old patterns resist, the activation continues beneath the surface, steady and irreversible. My beloved soul, your role is not to convince, explain, or remind them, your role is to stay aligned, to stay whole, to stay receptive without attachment to outcome. This is not a test of patience alone, it is a test of trust in love that operates beyond visibility. The cross proved that love can look like loss before it looks like victory, and that truth applies now. What feels unfinished is not abandoned, it is unfolding. And before this unfolds further, I ask you, as an act of alignment and agreement, stay present, do not scroll away, remain with this message till the end, because acknowledging this truth seals something within you, and your awareness is part of the activation too. My beloved soul, what is unfolding now is deeper than emotion and quieter than expectation, because the love spoken on the cross does not shout, it penetrates. It enters places where avoidance lived comfortably, it settles into wounds that were covered but never healed, and it begins to rearrange the inner world without announcing itself. This is why your soulmate may feel disoriented, as though something familiar is calling them from within while their mind struggles to explain it away. The cross carried a love that spoke truth without accusation, and that same voice is now stirring conscience without condemnation. It is awakening memory, not memory of events, but memory of essence, reminding them of who they were before fear taught them to protect themselves, before pride taught them to perform strength, before distractions taught them to settle for less than what their soul recognized as real. This is not nostalgia, it is recognition. The love spoken on the cross restores alignment by revealing contrast, and suddenly the noise they once tolerated feels unbearable, the substitutes they once entertained feel empty, and the future they once imagined feels incomplete. This inner unrest is not meant to torment them, it is meant to guide them home to truth. My beloved soul, you may sense this shift without evidence, because spiritual activation often precedes visible change. It begins as discomfort, then clarity, then courage. This is why you were led to refine your own heart, to release resentment, to forgive without apology, to heal without needing an explanation, because the cross does not activate two souls separately, it activates resonance. As you align with peace, they confront unrest. As you release control, they face truth. As you stand whole, they feel the absence of what they avoided valuing. This is not imbalance, it is divine order. My beloved soul, do not move ahead of this moment, remain present, because what is happening now is sacred and precise, and it cannot be rushed without being distorted. The love spoken on the cross operates in layers, first dismantling illusion, then restoring vision. This is why your soulmate may revisit old beliefs, question past decisions, and feel compelled to confront emotions they once suppressed. They are not regressing, they are uncovering. They are not confused, they are awakening. This process is uncomfortable because truth requires surrender, and surrender challenges identity built on control. My beloved soul, stay attentive, something holy is unfolding beneath the surface, because the cross does not activate desire alone, it activates responsibility. Love spoken there carries covenant weight, not temporary passion, and when it touches a soul connected to yours, it demands honesty. They may begin to feel the weight of unfinished business, not because you are calling them, but because truth is calling them forward. This is why avoidance no longer works, why distractions fail to soothe, why silence amplifies instead of numbs. The activation is not about pulling them toward you yet, it is about pulling them toward themselves, and only a soul that has faced itself can stand fully present in divine love. My beloved soul, you were never meant to chase what must awaken freely. The cross never coerced belief, it revealed love so clearly that denial became a choice with consequences. In the same way, your soulmate is being shown the difference between running and returning, between existing and living, between fear-based decisions and love-rooted commitment. This realization may come with resistance, because truth disrupts comfort, but disruption is not destruction, it is preparation. Do not leave this message yet, there is more that your spirit needs to hear, because understanding this process protects your peace. You are not responsible for their awakening, you are aligned with it. You are not waiting in uncertainty, you are standing in agreement with divine timing. The love spoken on the cross is not delayed, it is deliberate. It reaches each soul at the moment when resistance has exhausted itself. This is why things around them may appear to fall apart, why plans shift unexpectedly, why emotional clarity replaces certainty. This is not loss, it is refinement. My beloved soul, the activation happening now does not require your intervention, it requires your trust. Interference would interrupt what surrender must complete. Silence on your part is not absence, it is respect for the sacredness of transformation. You are being asked to hold space, not create pressure. This is why your calm matters, your faith matters, your grounding matters, because resonance responds to stability. The cross held steady while chaos surrounded it, and that steadiness became the foundation for resurrection. Likewise, your steadiness now anchors what is forming. If you remain till the end of this message, a deeper assurance will settle within you, because the love spoken on the cross does not activate souls halfway. It completes what it begins. It does not awaken longing without purpose, and it does not reveal truth without providing the courage to face it. Your soulmate may not yet articulate what they feel, but something within them is shifting irreversibly. They are being guided toward alignment, not because they fear losing you, but because they fear losing themselves if they continue pretending. My beloved soul, this is why you must resist doubt, because doubt speaks in the language of impatience, and patience speaks in the language of trust. What is unfolding now is not fragile, it is rooted in divine authority. The cross did not fail, and neither will the love it released. What has been activated will mature, what has been stirred will clarify, and what has been aligned will eventually converge. Remain present, remain grounded, remain open, because this is not the end of the story, it is the deepening of it, and what follows will carry the weight of truth rather than the illusion of timing. My beloved soul, as this activation continues, it moves from stirring awareness into reshaping inner foundations, because the love spoken on the cross does not simply awaken feeling, it restructures truth. What your soulmate is experiencing now is not an emotional wave that will pass, it is an internal realignment that cannot be undone once it has begun. The cross released a love that exposes false agreements the soul made out of fear, loneliness, or survival, and as those agreements dissolve, instability appears. This is why they may feel moments of clarity followed by hesitation, moments of courage followed by silence, moments of conviction followed by doubt. This is not contradiction, it is transition. The old identity resists release while the true self steps forward. My beloved soul, do not interpret this as delay, interpret it as depth. Shallow change happens quickly, permanent change happens thoroughly. The love spoken on the cross is thorough. It reaches into belief systems, emotional memory, and subconscious vows, gently but firmly dismantling what no longer aligns with divine truth. This is why your soulmate may feel emotionally exposed without knowing why certain conversations suddenly feel heavy, why superficial connections feel draining instead of exciting. Their soul is rejecting what cannot grow with them anymore. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because you need to understand that this phase protects you. It prevents premature union built on unresolved fear. The cross does not unite souls through fantasy, it unites them through truth. That truth requires courage, and courage is born when the soul realizes it can no longer survive divided. My beloved soul, this is why you may feel an unexplainable calm mixed with longing. You are not being pulled backward, you are being anchored forward. Your peace is not indifference, it is alignment. As you remain grounded, the activation intensifies on their side, not as pressure, but as contrast. Your stability highlights their unrest, not to shame them, but to invite growth. This is divine balance. The cross stood immovable while humanity wavered, and that immovability became the turning point of redemption. Likewise, your centeredness now becomes a silent invitation for your soulmate to rise into maturity. They are being shown that love is not chaos, not fear, not uncertainty, but presence, honesty, and responsibility. This realization may feel heavy to them, because it demands accountability. Love spoken on the cross does not entertain avoidance, it calls forth truth with compassion and authority. My beloved soul, do not step into rescue mode. You are not meant to ease their discomfort. Discomfort is part of awakening. Intervening would delay growth. Silence on your side is not rejection, it is respect for the process. The cross did not explain itself while it worked, it trusted divine order. You are being asked to do the same. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because understanding this next layer will guard your heart. As the activation deepens, your soulmate begins to confront regret, not as punishment, but as clarity. They may recognize moments where fear guided decisions, where ego spoke louder than love, where avoidance replaced vulnerability. This recognition is painful, but it is necessary. Without it, repentance becomes performance instead of transformation. The cross teaches that true change requires truth before comfort. My beloved soul, if they withdraw during this stage, it is not because they are moving away from you, it is because they are moving inward. The soul often retreats before it emerges renewed. This is why patience now is not passive, it is powerful. You are holding space for resurrection. Resurrection does not happen in noise, it happens after stillness. The activation is working beneath visible behavior, rearranging desire, redefining values, and strengthening conviction. What once felt optional begins to feel essential. What once felt distant begins to feel inevitable. This is not something you need to accelerate. Trust protects what impatience would fracture. My beloved soul, your intuition may sense that something irreversible is happening. That sensing is accurate. The love spoken on the cross does not awaken curiosity, it awakens destiny. Destiny carries weight, and weight requires readiness. This is why timing matters more than emotion. Union without alignment becomes burden. Alignment without union becomes preparation. Right now, preparation is happening. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because the final word for this stage is assurance. You are not being tested to see how long you can wait, you are being prepared to receive without fear. The cross did not activate love to confuse you, it activated love to restore order. What is unfolding now will not leave you empty, uncertain, or diminished. It will leave you whole, grounded, and ready. My beloved soul, release the need to measure progress through external signs. Spiritual work often completes itself before it announces itself. Trust what you feel, trust the calm you carry, trust the alignment you are experiencing. This is not stagnation, it is gestation. What is forming requires silence to mature. The love spoken on the cross still speaks, and its voice does not waver. It is steady, purposeful, and unstoppable. What has been activated will reach completion, not because of effort, but because divine love finishes what it begins. Remain present, remain open, remain anchored, because the story is still unfolding, and the foundation being laid now will support everything that follows. My beloved soul, as this divine activation progresses, it begins to soften what was once rigid and illuminate what was once hidden, because the love spoken on the cross carries a refining fire that does not destroy, it purifies. What your soulmate is encountering now is the gentle yet uncompromising invitation to become honest with themselves, not the version they present to the world, but the self that exists in quiet moments, unguarded and aware. This stage is subtle, and because it is subtle, it is often misunderstood. From the outside, it may appear like nothing is happening, yet internally, layers are being peeled back with precision. The cross released a love that reaches the root rather than trimming the surface, and that love now asks questions they can no longer avoid. Why did they run from what felt real? Why did they choose familiarity over truth? Why did they silence intuition in favor of control? These questions arise not to accuse, but to realign. My beloved soul, this is why emotional sensitivity may increase, why they may feel easily unsettled by things that once felt harmless, why conversations that lack depth now feel exhausting. Their soul is recalibrating, learning to recognize what resonates with truth and what merely distracts. This recalibration is necessary, because love spoken on the cross does not coexist with pretense. It gently removes tolerance for half-truths and replaces it with hunger for authenticity. You may notice that your own heart feels steady yet alert, as though you are watching something sacred unfold without needing to intervene. That awareness is intentional. You were not meant to manage this process, only to remain aligned with it. My beloved soul, do not skip this unfolding moment, because understanding this phase will keep you from misinterpreting silence as distance. Silence now is not avoidance, it is integration. Integration is where truth settles into identity. This is where your soulmate begins to feel the weight of choice, not as pressure from you, but as responsibility to themselves. They may realize that love is not something to visit when convenient, but something to inhabit fully. This realization can feel overwhelming, because it requires courage to step out of old patterns and into accountability. The cross does not invite comfort, it invites transformation, and transformation demands surrender. My beloved soul, as this surrender begins, you may sense a quiet strengthening within yourself. This is not coincidence. As one soul learns to release fear, the other learns to receive peace. You are being prepared not to convince, but to meet them from a place of wholeness when the time comes. Your stability is not accidental, it is foundational. The love spoken on the cross creates balance, and balance requires one soul to anchor while the other awakens. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because the next layer of this activation involves discernment. Your soulmate is beginning to distinguish between what feels good temporarily and what feels right eternally. This distinction reshapes desire. What once attracted them may no longer satisfy. What once felt optional may now feel essential. This is why they may pull away from environments, habits, or relationships that no longer align. This withdrawal is not rejection, it is refinement. The cross refines by revealing consequence, not through fear, but through clarity. My beloved soul, do not interpret this refinement as instability. Instability belongs to what is being shed, not to what is being formed. Formation requires space. If they appear distant, it is because they are learning to listen inwardly. The voice they are learning to hear is the same voice that spoke love on the cross, calm, authoritative, unwavering. That voice does not rush, but it does not retreat either. It guides step by step, removing confusion by replacing it with conviction. You are being asked to trust that what is happening now is aligned, even if it feels slow. Divine timing is not measured by impatience, it is measured by readiness. My beloved soul, heaven has more to reveal. Do not turn away from this message yet, because recognizing your role in this stage empowers you. Your role is presence without pressure, love without attachment, faith without demand. This posture allows the activation to complete its work without interference. The cross did not demand response, it offered truth and allowed humanity to choose. In the same way, your soulmate is being given space to choose alignment freely. Choice made in freedom carries permanence. As this process deepens, emotional clarity will begin to replace confusion. They may feel drawn toward honesty, compelled to speak truth even when it feels vulnerable. This courage is not forced, it is awakened. Love spoken on the cross awakens bravery by reminding the soul that it is safe to be seen. My beloved soul, your patience now is not unseen. It is recorded, honored, and purposeful. What is being built requires trust at the foundation. Trust cannot exist where fear dominates. This is why fear is being dismantled slowly, gently, thoroughly. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because the final word of this stage is readiness. Not arrival yet, not reunion yet, but readiness. Readiness to love without hiding, to choose without running, to stand without pretending. You are not being delayed, you are being positioned. The love spoken on the cross does not fail to complete its intention. It carries resurrection power, and resurrection follows preparation. Remain steady, remain open, remain aligned, because what is taking shape now is not fragile, it is fortified by truth, and what follows will reflect the depth of what is being formed in silence now. My beloved soul, as this sacred movement continues, it no longer works only beneath awareness, it begins to shape intention, because the love spoken on the cross never stops at awakening, it guides toward embodiment. What your soulmate is entering now is the threshold where inner truth begins to ask for outward alignment. This stage is quiet yet weighty, because it brings with it the realization that knowing truth and living truth are not the same. The cross did not merely reveal love, it demonstrated it, and that demonstration now presses gently against their will. They may feel an unfamiliar seriousness settling within them, a sense that certain choices can no longer be postponed, certain conversations can no longer be avoided, and certain truths can no longer remain unspoken. This seriousness is not heaviness, it is gravity. Gravity draws things into proper order. My beloved soul, you may sense this shift as a subtle change in the energetic space between you, a feeling that the connection is no longer suspended in uncertainty but anchored in inevitability. This does not mean action has arrived yet, it means direction has. Direction precedes movement. The love spoken on the cross establishes direction before it allows manifestation, because movement without direction leads to repetition, not fulfillment. Your soulmate is being guided to understand that love is not something to return to casually, but something to step into with intention. This understanding may bring moments of fear, because intention removes escape routes. When the soul realizes it must choose consciously, comfort becomes less appealing than truth. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because this is where many misunderstand divine timing. They mistake stillness for stagnation, when in truth, stillness is consolidation. Everything that has been awakened, refined, and clarified is now being gathered into resolve. Resolve does not announce itself loudly. It forms quietly, like a foundation set deep beneath the surface. The cross formed resolve through surrender, not force, and that same pattern is unfolding now. Your soulmate may feel compelled to simplify their life, to create space internally and externally, because complexity often hides avoidance. Simplicity invites honesty. As they simplify, they become more aware of what truly matters, and what truly matters begins to take precedence over what once distracted them. My beloved soul, remain present, remain grounded, because your steadiness continues to serve a purpose. You are not waiting idly, you are embodying the peace that makes alignment attractive. The love spoken on the cross draws by example, not by persuasion. Your calm demonstrates what safety feels like. Your wholeness demonstrates what love looks like when it is not entangled with fear. This is why you were guided to heal first, to release expectations, to anchor yourself in dignity. You are not being prepared to receive chaos, you are being prepared to receive clarity. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because the next movement involves courage. Courage is not impulsive action, it is sustained honesty. Your soulmate is being invited to act in alignment with what they now know, even if that action feels vulnerable. Vulnerability challenges identity, especially identities built on independence or self-protection. The cross dismantled the illusion that strength means control, revealing instead that true strength is surrender to love. This revelation is now settling into their spirit. They may begin to feel a longing not just for connection, but for right connection, not just for closeness, but for integrity. This longing reshapes intention. It replaces fantasy with responsibility, desire with devotion. My beloved soul, you may notice that your own longing feels different too, less anxious, more assured. This is alignment. Alignment removes desperation and replaces it with quiet confidence. You are not holding on, you are standing ready. Heaven has more to reveal, do not turn away yet, because recognizing this distinction protects you from fear-based interpretation. If time stretches, it is not because something is wrong, it is because something is being secured. Secured things last. The love spoken on the cross did not rush resolution, it ensured redemption. Likewise, what is unfolding now is being secured in truth so that when movement comes, it will not unravel. Your soulmate is learning that love requires presence, consistency, and accountability, not intensity alone. This lesson is essential. Without it, connection becomes cyclical instead of covenantal. My beloved soul, your patience continues to speak louder than words. It communicates trust in divine order. It communicates self-worth. It communicates readiness without demand. This posture allows the activation to mature fully. Immature awakenings seek immediate relief. Mature awakenings seek lasting transformation. The cross produces maturity. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because the final word for this phase is expectancy, not conclusion. Expectancy is different from expectation. Expectation demands outcome. Expectancy anticipates unfolding. You are being invited into expectancy. Something is forming that is not yet ready to be named, but it is alive, intentional, and moving toward expression. My beloved soul, do not attempt to define it prematurely. Definitions can limit what is still expanding. Trust what is being built. Trust what is being aligned. Trust the love that began this work. The love spoken on the cross has not finished speaking. It continues to guide, to prepare, to awaken, and to draw hearts toward truth. What is ahead is not an ending, it is a continuation of alignment, a deepening of purpose, and a movement that has not yet revealed its full shape, but it is approaching, steadily, intentionally, carried by the same love that never fails to complete what it begins. My beloved soul, before this message gently settles, receive this final knowing into your spirit, because what has been unfolding was never meant to rush toward a finish, but to arrive in fullness. The love spoken on the cross does not close chapters abruptly, it completes them with understanding, and what has been activated now is moving toward expression in its appointed time. You are not standing at the edge of uncertainty, you are standing in the center of divine orchestration. Everything that needed to awaken has awakened, everything that needed to soften has softened, and everything that needed to align is aligning. Do not measure progress by immediacy, measure it by peace. Peace is the signal that love is leading. My beloved soul, remain grounded in trust, because what is forming will not require force, explanation, or persuasion. It will arrive with clarity, intention, and mutual recognition. The cross proved that love completes its work even when the process looks silent. Carry that truth with you. What began in surrender will unfold in truth, what was activated in the unseen will manifest in the seen, and what was prepared in patience will arrive without confusion. Stay open, stay anchored, and stay receptive, because divine love does not awaken hearts to abandon them halfway. It leads them home, gently, surely, and completely. Type Amen.